The first step to filleting these fish is pretty much the same as any other fish. You're going to start by making a cut behind the gill flap and behind the pectoral fin. The only difference with this is than other fish is you actually do have a set of bones right here. It's very hard to cut through these bones. You're going to feel it with your knife. It's kind of like a pine cone shaped bone right here that goes like this. And so all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut right around that. So I'm going to cut around that, and now all I'm going to do is go down the spine, just like any other fish, all the way down the fish. And you can hear my knife hitting the spine there. And then I'm going to pass through once I reach the vent. And I'm going to cut it off right here. So now here I've just cut down to the spine. So now all you got to do is cut it the rest of the way off of the carcass. See, this is the part that's going to be a little bit difficult. But all you got to do is cut it above the ribs, all the way down. And all, like I said, all I'm doing is cutting it down the rest of the fish. Just keep taking it off the carcass. And once I reach the bottom there, I'm just going to cut it off the rest of the way. Okay, so there you go. The side's off the fish now. Now normally the flesh will look a little bit more white than that. That's got a kind of a weird little tint to it, but that's because it's been frozen whole for a while. So now that we got the side off, you're going to want to cut this fillet in half because there's two sets of bones that are placed right here and right here on the fillet, and they're just Y. They're called the Y bones. So first I'm going to cut the fillet in half right down the ventral line here. Then I'm going to just split it. All right, so now you got your two halves. You got your top half right here, and you got your bottom half right here. So top, bottom, Y bones all the way through the top, Y bones only through the back half of this one. So I'm going to take the skin and the red meat off right here. Okay, I want to flip it over, and I got pretty much almost all the red meat off there, so that's really good. So now I'm pretty much good to go to start filleting around the bones. So we got the Y bones in here, and they're in here like this. So if I turn the fillet this way, they're like this, with the Y facing down, and they just run all the way like this. So you got the kickstand of the Y up like this, and that's coming down here. So you can see them. The fillet is actually cutting in half right along there. It's already kind of split, but you can see them kind of bumping up through here, and they come all the way down to right around where the tail starts. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut on both sides of that kickstand. And I'm going to cut down until I feel the fork of the Y. You can hear my knife running along there. You can hear that. So that's one side, and then I'm going to cut along the other side of that kickstand. And you can hear my knife hitting those again. You don't want to cut through those. So to this point, all I did was make a cut on both sides of the kickstand of the Y there, so you can see that. So now that I made a cut down both sides of that, I've got a cut here and here along the fork of the Y, just the outside. So just slide that on out. And I'm not going to cut it all the way off yet. I'm just cutting to the tips of the forks because there's a nice nugget of meat on the back half. Okay, so there. Now you can see I just filleted to the tips of those bones. Okay, so now I'm going to flip the fillet over. So flipping it over, and now I'm just taking it off this part of the Y, just the back little chunk. So I'm just going to meet up with where I ended my cut. So there's one boneless piece right there. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And there's another boneless piece. Oop. Another boneless piece there. So that's the top half. That's all boneless there. And then here's all the bones. They kind of fell apart. That's it for the top half. Now for the bottom half, you can find where these Y bones start. And actually, the rib meat all right here, this is all boneless already. So you got a nice carp steak right here. So I'm just going to cut that off while keeping the red meat on the skin best I can. So there you go. You got a nice little steak there. So now I'm going to take it the rest of the way off the skin here, getting that red meat off with it. So there you go. Got the red meat off with the skin again. And I really like using this for catfish bait. So you don't have to waste this. It's really good catfish bait. All right, so now the bottom half, it's the same as I just did on the top half. You got the Y bones running down right here. Same thing, cut on both sides of that kickstand first. All the way down, all the way down, until you feel the bones, and you can cut out. Do the same thing on the other side. All right, flip it over. Okay, there's a boneless piece. Now we'll lay it out like this. That's how the fish sits. You let that soak in water overnight and do with it what you will. You can do a lot of things with this fish because it's so mild. I really like grilling it. You can marinate it in teriyaki sauce overnight, which is my favorite, and then putting it on the grill, put it on some skewers. It holds together real nice. It'll take on any flavor you marinate it or season it with.